Cards on the table. I say what your mother has, at the very least, is what we call borderline personality disorder.
A borderline personality disorder.
Let me read to you from the DSM-4, okay? Definitions of the condition. A pattern of unstable relationships, affective instability. It means intense anxiety, joylessness. These people's internal phobias are the only things that exist to them. The real world, real people are peripheral. These people have no love or compassion. Borderline personalities are very good at splitting behavior, creating bitterness and conflict between others in their circle.
You may not be familiar with borderline personality disorder, but it is somewhat common. 2% of American adults, mostly women, suffer from this condition characterized by impulsive actions, unstable moods, and chaotic relationships.
A person with borderline personality disorder, or BPD, may experience intense bouts of anger, depression, and anxiety that may last only hours or at most a day. These distortions in thinking and sense of self can lead to frequent changes in long-term goals, career plans, jobs, friendships, gender identity, and values. These may be associated with episodes of impulsive aggression, self-injury, and drug or alcohol abuse. Sometimes people with BPD view themselves as fundamentally bad or unworthy. They may feel unfairly misunderstood or mistreated, bored, empty, and have little idea who they are. Such symptoms are most acute when people with BPD feel isolated and lacking in social support, and may result in frantic efforts to avoid being alone. Music's and
Close your eyes, please.
The part of the brain that puts the brakes on emotions is a part of the prefrontal cortex.
This is the part of the brain that is required to put the brakes on emotional responses. And you can see that in the healthy person, the prefrontal cortex, and in particular this area, the anterior cingulate, is very active, and that's shown as the red and yellow. Whereas in this image, you see that it's cold. It's all blue, and there's not a lot of activity, and that is underactive.
What that means is that there's not the same automatic control of emotions that the rest of people have. That the part of the brain that we need to put the brakes on emotions is much less functional in borderline patients than it is in healthy people.
Hello, I'm Pete Gerlach. I am a professional therapist and have been for 31 years. One of my specialties is to work with survivors of early childhood trauma. I want to offer the research-based opinion that what is commonly diagnosed as borderline personality disorder is a symptom of the real problem. The real problem is people are controlled by a, quote, false self, which is a series of personality subcells that are split and somewhat chaotic and overwhelm or disable the resident true self. This can be cured, can be improved. Cured is a little strong, sorry. For information on this, I hope you'll look at Lesson 1 in the nonprofit, no ads, no commercials, Lesson 1
what you really realize if you interact with emotionally dysregulated people is that they couldn't do better than they were doing, and that they needed someone to teach them how to do that.
I have emotions that are 10 times more intense than a normal person. Dialectic behavioral therapy teaches me to take my emotions and detach from them, step back, look at them and say, you know, why am I feeling this way? What can I do about it? You know, what can I do to change it? So it's really helped out a lot.
Dialectical behavior therapy is a treatment that was developed specifically for people with borderline personality disorder to treat emotion dysregulation. And in DBT, we treat emotion dysregulation. The dialectic in DBT is through a combination of acceptance and change. So on the one hand, we want to accept, understand, really validate the person's experience, how it feels, what they're wanting. On the other hand, we also want to change the destructive behaviors, the destructive patterns, and help the person become more empowered to live the kind of life they want to live.